Hello, everybody, and welcome back to tracking our local shifting real estate market in Burlington, Camden, Gloucester counties, 900,000 and below. And we are here at week 40 in September, ready to do our September monthly averages. And we have a lot to talk about. We have interest rates that hit a 2-year low. We have total active listings that have been on a 2-year high. We have median list price that's been sliding down for a number of months here. We have our average days on market, which are starting to creep back up a little bit. So we started this, let's remember, back in the beginning of 2023, because we were tracking this shifting market where we saw active listings tank. We went into a really heavy seller's market. It was really difficult for buyers, a lot of things going on. Sort of turning the corner here. We are sort of going the other direction, as it were. So before I jump into the graphs, just a quick revisit of our 12 key metrics, right? Total active listings, we can see that has been increasing. If I come back here into kind of May and June, 1,300 into the 1,400 into 1,500. June and July, we're 15 into 1,600. Into September, we're 16 into 1,700. So significantly starting to increase the total active listings on the market. Now, that is always just an extension of our pending new listings, pending and closed, right? For the most part, this stays kind of similar. There's not a huge fluctuation any one week or another. This is a little bit more random, but the devil is in the details of the micro patterns that are actually bringing us to a macroeconomic difference. And that is, the macroeconomic difference is the total active listings. The micro is sort of what happens on a true week-to-week basis from that perspective. It's not surprising that we should see right at the beginning of this month or end of August, and then at the end of this month, expired listings are high. Again, it's just because a lot of listing agreements are signed where you finish them at the end of a month. And there's nothing actually crazier than that. The thing that is a little crazy, though, is that we're looking at our price reductions being over 200. I don't remember when so many properties were actually getting price reduced other than 3 weeks ago. But the kicker with this is that price reductions have always been closer to about 10% of all of the total active listings on the market. So about 10% of all active listings. So with 1,700 listings, we should expect about 170 price reductions. We're up to 200. So that's closer to 12, 13, 14%. Now that might seem small, but again, across that many listings, that's a lot of more listings that are actually doing price reductions at any one time than what they used to be. And again, as you really increase the amount of supply or total active listings, price is going to have an effect, right? And it's going to have an effect on what I perceived my price that I was going to get versus the action and the traction that I'm actually getting, and I have to reduce. Median and average days on market still quite low, but a little bit trending up. We still have our price that actually came down. I was actually happy to see this, and I'll show you that more. It's more illustrative in the graph. But the other thing is, for sellers and buyers, you're still paying about asking price. You're still paying a little bit over. But remember, some of those are being price reduced a little bit. Now let's jump over to our 4 graphs, and I'll kind of run through these quickly. Total active listings. How many homes are available for sale at any one time in the 3 counties under 900,000? This is condos, single-family homes, and townhomes. Blue was last year. We tanked on listings in the beginning of the inflationary period last year. We rebounded. We started this year just a little bit lower from where that was. We had a decent drop-off from December to January. But you can see in the red, since February, we have increased the amount of listings on the market every single month, going up all the way through September. We've increased from 1,224 up to 1,689 in a matter of basically 8 months, right? That's a big jump. That's a big jump to add 25% more listings on the market in 8 months. That's a lot to add. And so we're starting to see the effect that that's having on our prices. And so as we start to take a look at our median list price, the average median list price, last year was green. We started real low, 312, 311. We really increased again through that inflationary period, but we stabilized second half of last year. The interest rates, as they increased them, really helped to keep some of those at bay. That was when we were at like the 7% interest rates and things like that. It was really started to ramp up. But prices kept going up. Prices kept going up because that inflation came out of control. Our housing market here in Southern New Jersey is really strong. But look what's happened these last couple months. We peaked out in June at 371, and now we're down to 366, 365, 357. So we're starting to see the market respond a little bit to the more listings. when listings were still cramped, we let this ride up. But, list price is always a lag measure, always happens after the fact of the lead measure, which is the amount of listings for sale and the cross-reference of interest rates. But it's nice to see for me that we've actually been able to come down in these prices a little bit to be a little bit more manageable. So buyers, throughout all of this, I'm talking to you. You are the one I'm talking to most specifically here. Now, days on market, not as statistically relevant as some of the other ones, but same thing. Last year was in blue, so it is a fast market this year, but you can see just like prices, we kind of bottomed out a little bit here in that June, July, August, and we're ever so slightly starting to turn up a little bit. A little bit. I would expect to probably see this days on market continue to increase. It might even get closer to the trend line of what the last 3 months from last year did, getting a little bit higher there. Now, all that's well and good, but it's not the headline. Here's our headline. Remember, I pull these direct from Freddie Mac. I literally just copy and paste right off the Excel spreadsheet that they update on a weekly basis. So I have that in just another tab here. I added, but we are at a 2-year low. The last time, and I had to go back and check on the Freddie Mac Excel spreadsheet, the last time that we had rates this low, September 15th, 2022. 2 full years ago, 2 years and 2 weeks if you want to get fancy, we've had interest rates this low. So everything you see on this graph here, everything, we are now at a lower point than anywhere else on this graph. Even this very, very bottom one here is 6.48. It's down to 6.9, right? 6.73, 6.09 is really where it was. And then 6.08 all the way down here. So that's the last time we got down that low was that, but we went even lower back in September of 22. So the question becomes, okay, Connor, you've presented me with all this fun, amazing real estate information. I know that's what you all are thinking. What do I do? What am I taking out of this? Talk to me. Well, one, if you're a buyer, there are more homes for sale with less competition, with average listing prices coming down and days on market creeping up. I had a military buyer that we were able to put under contract that I've been working with for probably about 6 to 7 months. They were getting beat out on houses because we were going after houses in good school districts. And honestly, there was just too much competition for a VA loan. And so finally, we found a property that has been sitting on the market for 30 days, had a $10,000 price reduction in Voorhees, and we were their only offer. We actually got the house $5,000 under asking price. We kind of came down 10 under, met them halfway in the middle, full inspections, no appraisal gap coverage, pretty low EMD, and a 30-day close. Nothing crazy. This is the type of real estate that should make you excited. Because while it's not the highest it's ever been or the lowest it's ever been, that's kind of a good thing. We generally don't want to be all over the place from the pricing and the status of everything, or else you're buying at a statistically unique spot. The people who bought in June, that definitely was a little bit of a high point. And while we are sliding a bit back in prices, I don't exactly see this being a trend where we're going to go all the way back to, beginning of 2023 dollar values. Just inflation has gone up too much in that period of time for us to return to that. But if you're a seller, this is still a good time. This is still okay. You definitely lost a little bit of a maximized window. I will say that. And it's not just because the price have come up. I wish I could do a statistical analysis on homes that sold with a majority of their contingencies waived. That would be a really interesting study to do. There's no way for me to be able to check that because a lot of that's internal information for transactional purposes. But I would guess that as these prices have started to come down, the amount of contingencies that a buyer has to waive have also lessened. You only max out your contingencies, like what am I going to do for the home inspection? What am I going to do for appraisal? You only max those things out when the prices are absolutely slamming high and you have to give up everything else you can just to get the house. Well, that's not happening anymore. So sellers, if you are going to be listing soon, just understand you may not be getting the price you want for your home. You may not be getting all the contingencies that you wanted on your home, but you're going to have to be realistic about where the buyer is today and what they're going to be able to afford. Now, luckily, these drops in interest rates have made affordability better. So I would actually expect to see as we go into the end of this year that we're going to get a bump. Now, again, I don't like bringing up politics, but we kind of got to bring up politics every once in a while because we are 2 months out basically from election time, there's always a maintenance of an economic status quo going into with a little bit of an improvement, because they're trying to keep everybody's spirits high of where they sit. Now, I'm not affiliated one way or the other, Democrat, Republican, left, right. I don't mind who you vote for. Just, you should vote, whatever you want to do. But what I do know is that we are probably going to see a little bit of artificial propping up for the next 2 months, probably some decently low interest rates. We might even get into the high 5.9s as opposed to the low 6s, just to keep that kind of economic viability, try and keep those things. We're going to see gas prices staying a little bit low. Once the election goes through, once we kind of get through the winter, once we get to kind of February, let's see. Announce who's going to win, announce what's going to happen, what the direction is going to be. I think we're going to see a lot of that market start to shift again. I don't know what the outcome is going to be because I don't know the outcome of the election. And so we know that when one party gets it, some things go better for the stock market for other things. When another party wins it, some things get better for unemployment protection. Again, whatever it is, I'm just here for the real estate component of it, is that we do want to watch. But what I do know, buyers, it's cheap right now. Prices have come down. You have a little bit more options. And sellers, you still have a good window. Prices are still statistically very high. So you're still in a good place from those perspectives. So I don't think any one group is truly winning or losing. But if I had to give it an edge, I'd say buyers have come out on top a little bit better. All right, y'all. That's it for this month. And I appreciate you guys following along with all of these on a monthly basis. You know that you can always get to me in between some of these times if you have questions or concerns about anything with your home. Here's what I would, final note, check your rate. If you bought in the last 2 years, check your rate. You might be able to refinance. I generally personally recommend, you can talk to lenders about this that may have different ideas, but once your interest rate is a full point, maybe 3/4 of a point to a full point lower than where you are right now on your mortgage payments and what your mortgage is, probably a decent time to refinance. I'm talking to my brother who bought about a year ago at the end of 2023, and they have an interest rate in the 7s. And so I'm kind of recommending that they should probably talk with their lender up there to see if they can entertain a refinance. Me personally, we have an interest rate a little bit closer to where interest rates are right now. So I would need to see interest rates continue to slide down, probably to 5.5, 5.15, 5.25 before I would really do it. But I'm not banking on that. I'm not planning on refinancing because I don't actually expect interest rates to go down that low. But the refinance community is definitely one you should look at now. So anyway, have a great day, everybody. I appreciate you all following along. Talk to you soon.